Hi guys, so Milestone's new off-road racing IP has been announced. We've had mud, we've had dirt, and now we have gravel. I'm still not sure if I'm sold on that name personally, but either way, it runs on the new Unreal 4 engine, has over 50 vehicles and 200 career events, so it sounds like a very promising package. What you're seeing here is some exclusive early alpha gameplay. I'm getting a bit of a Forza Horizon vibe myself. Did you get that from playing it, Alan, at the time?
Yeah, I suppose I got a cross of Forza Horizon, but also for me, I got a real feel of Sega Rally. It had a very nostalgic feel to me. Obviously playing with the Toyota Celica and some of the other cars that were in there, the color palette, the look, the feel, the smoothness, the gameplay. It had a fun arcade vibe to it. It had, at the same time, it had sort of very detailed physics to it, but at the same time was, fun to play. But with more depth to the handling than Forza Horizon in many ways.
Right.
So yeah, first impressions were certainly a cross between that and I think MotorStorm as well in a way. It sort of had a
definitely MotorStorm Pacific Rift from the kind of coastal environments.
Yeah, but I think that first impressions are it's an interesting surprise here, isn't it, from Milestone? We didn't know what to expect from their next game. They released. Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo last year. They've shown off their Unreal 4 technology in terms of MXGP, and now they've come out with an arcade racing game, which I think is probably their first arcade racing game in years. I can't even remember.
I think it fills the void there, because I think that is something we have been lacking in many years. Obviously, go back, you had games like Sega Rally, Split Second, Blur. It's been a massive void of those in recent years. We've been inundated with racing sims, but I do crave more of these, pick up and play arcade races, because they're just pure fun.
Yeah, well we talked about that recently. Exactly.
Yeah.
We talked about Blur, and we talked about Split Second and how awesome they were and fun they were to play and engaging. I mean, we want sims to play, but we want arcade action racing games as well. We love this type of stuff. So it's great to see that void being filled, because right now, the arcade racing genre is pretty empty this year, while there's a wealth of sim games coming.
I must say, those skies, they are blue enough to be in a Sega game.
They are. We love blue skies. Good old gravel, bringing back blue skies. I'm going to keep saying the name as well, gravel.
I'm sorry, just the name doesn't do it for me yet. It's called gravel.
No, I was just saying it's a fantastic name for a racing game.
Oh, best racing game.
So you're a gravel racer. Love it. So no, I mean, as I say, we so back to the day. I should start off more sensibly. So we had a presentation, obviously, of the Unreal technology shown on MXGP3. Then we had a presentation from the developers in terms of how they make the environments. Now they're making these huge environments. I'm not certain how open world they're all going to be. There is going to be some open world environments, but there's going to be lots of courses spread over these environments. And as far as I'm aware, there's going to be some form of point-to-point races where how you get to the other point is up to you, and depending on the vehicle you're driving. So you might all be in different vehicles that suit different types of routes to get to your destination. So they showed firstly how the technology, you can render an island or an area, a large area, pretty quickly. Then you can draw practically where you want your circuit to be, and then you can change the undulation on that circuit, drive it straight away with a basic physics model, see what it's like, and make changes to it. Then you can add some basic vegetation and some basic buildings to it very quickly. They showed this all in a sort of 15-20 minute session, and you'll be seeing some footage of this as I'm talking. And then after that, they hand it to the artists and they say, I like the way this track works. Add some, work on it, make it look super detailed and amazing. So the design process has been sped up enormously from where it was before, where a designer had to design it on paper or, a flat diagram, if you like, on a computer, give it to your artists, and they had to realize it. And then if there were changes, then there was a big process in making all the changes. So in terms of speed of development, it helps massively there. So yeah, we went through basically looking at sort of circuit creation and some of the different environments, and there are some don't know, 18 environments that are going to be in the game. I think 200 courses, something like that. I can't remember how many.
Events,
200 career events, 200
yeah,
career events,
4
and
disciplines as well.
4 disciplines. Yeah, so you've got your rally cars and your big trucks and everything else. I mean, it's going to be a sort of a very angry racing game in a fun way, like MotorStorm. So you've got.
I like the tone they're going for, because I think with Milestone's recent games, they've always been quite serious.
Yes.
Whereas this looks a lot more light-hearted and fun. In fact, ironically, in some ways, it reminds me of Mud. Obviously, before MXGP, they had Mud, which also had licensed bikes, but it was a bit more light-hearted. You had like punk rock music and comic characters, and the handling was arcadey. So they've gone back to that kind of era. I think.
Yeah, gravel. It seems to revolve around what they call in the gravel channel. So there's some sort of broadcast event going on, a bit like a Horizon sort of festival, I guess. But this one's a channel, so you're going to see like adverts and branding and just.
I love some of the merchandise. You got your gravel orange juice. You got
gravel coffee. That'll probably give you a gravelly voice, no doubt.
It'll make you sound like Vin Diesel.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? And considering the sort of Dirt 4 is losing a dude bro, people can have their dose of dude bro with gravel. So it's going to be interesting.
It does remind me of Dirt 2 as well a bit. Now you mention it.
Yeah,
it's like this amalgamation of arcade races that we've been missing, which I like, because I'm a big fan of MotorStorm, Pacific Rift, and all the others.
I mean, Alan, you talk about the speed of development. I mean, fantastic what they're achieving, but I don't think any of us could. I don't think any of us were expecting a summer release date. That really was surprising.
Well, at the event last week, summer wasn't being mentioned. It was sort of later in the year. So the information coming out now is that they're going to be ready in the summer. It seems like they're going to have to work miracles to make that happen. But I have seen their staff work miracles before. I've never seen them work a miracle this big, because the scale of the project is vast.
But, do you know how long it's been in development for?
We don't know how long, but it doesn't seem to be that long, really. So we don't know for sure. We will ask.
It's the first game to use Unreal 4, which implies it started before MXGP 3.
Oh, okay, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, the thing about the design process is the design process may be more organized. I mean, it could have been a game they designed 2 years ago and didn't have the technology to make. There's when you're working out the design process, that's different to sort of the game creation process in terms of planning. And if it's well planned out and you know who's producing what assets, then you can get stuff done pretty quickly. But
you can always get the feeling it's like the game they've always wanted to make, almost.
I get the feeling it is. It combines elements of different games that we've all enjoyed. If you say there's a bit of Forza Horizon, there's a bit of Sega Rally, there's a bit of MotorStorm in there, that's not a bad combination to kick off with. In particular, the visuals, it's got very impressive visuals throughout. But again, it's pre-alpha or alpha gameplay. It's not even pre-alpha or pre-alpha. I don't know whereabouts it is actually. It's very early code. I mean, the cars, I don't know if they're all finished yet. They're still working on damage modeling, and that's another thing we've not even talked about yet.
Yeah,
there's going to be impressive damage modeling, and as I'm talking now, I'll show you a demonstration of them throwing rocks at various different cars made out of different materials, as you do, which actually looks like a lot of fun, I might add. And you'll see bits and pieces of different cars breaking in different ways depending on the materials they're built from and all the rest of it. So in terms of damage modeling, that looks really good. They're putting a lot of work into that. Very impressive, the way the carbon fiber and all that breaks, and also the physics. They're putting a lot of work into. Yes, it's not a simulator, but there's a lot of physics in there to take. It seems to me, and talk to people there, they started with a real physics model and then tuned it down to make it a simcade, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some gameplay showing the suspension. You could see it sort of working individually, and really impressive stuff. And of course, they've developed Sebastian Loeb, which has incredible physics, in my opinion. So if they can sort of, implement that sort of depth, but obviously, like you say, tune it down for the sort of mainstream audience, then I think they're really onto a winner there.
As well, I've never seen a damage model like this that's actually on licensed cars, apart from maybe some rally games. But I don't even know if some rally games are as in depth.
Get it more so in rally games. I've noticed. I think the manufacturers are more they're less reluctant to see their cars get smashed up.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you remember back GT6, there was a rally car that you could really bust up, and it was the only one in the game, and it was, you know, it was a rally car. So yeah, there's definitely something in there.
Yeah, that's so deceptive. They showed that in the trailer, and they thought, oh, yeah, damage model for every car.
So inconsistent that game. Oh,
yeah. But no, I mean, all fairness, it does. I mean, it reminds me again of Codemasters games almost, because they always kind of pride themselves on damage modeling. I remember in Grid 2, I think it was.
Well, I think this is a step above. I mean, I was so blown away with this. I mean, you know, an open world style of game, you know, you don't necessarily expect damage on this level. So to have
the idea of your car getting like continually weathered during the race is all the different elements smashing.
I mean, you mentioned a number of games like Horizon and stuff, but you could also add in perhaps Flat Out or Wreckfest to the equation with this damage model. It really does look like it's going to play a big element in the racing action, and you know, it looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, Much about the vehicle variety, like will there be bikes, for example, because that would fit the theme, I think.
You know, I think bikes would be great, wouldn't they? I mean, here we are looking at MXGP3 and thinking, wouldn't it be great to have bikes in there like Motorstorm? But at the moment, no. It's got 4 types of four-wheeled vehicles that are all designed for various types of off-roading, and they all handle very differently. Obviously, the suspension on the big trucks, and I was getting a lot of wheel spin and suspension. The weight distribution is in there as well.
Cool.
So it's an interesting model. What's interesting is also that it's deceptively difficult at first, just trying to get used to some of them. I mean, the Hummer was more challenging to get used to due to the weight, and I'd go into a corner quite fast and the back end would just step out on me. And so, you know, I'd have various different techniques that would often fail in trying to keep control. But whereas the rally cars, you know, again, they slide around a lot in a nice, easy way, but there's still a way to maximizing your speed. And we're playing with a controller. I would love to play this with a wheel as well. It would give me that real arcade feel. Another game it reminds me of from years ago actually was Dirt Dash by Namco, and not many of you remember that, but it was an arcade game that came out, I don't know, sometime around sort of 95, and it crossed different types of sort of environments in terms of dirt and cities and everything else, and it kind of reminded me a lot of playing that. But no, it was very playable. But another thing I just want to mention actually when I was playing and I was racing around was the audio, how impressive the engine notes are. And if you listen to the various audio, especially in car, really impressive, aggressive audio notes. And we think finally Milestone is there with audio. They're getting audio now on a level
with Sebastian Loeb. Night and day different.
Night and day. You know, you kind of look at it and think, oh, I wish this audio was in Sebastian Loeb.
Oh yeah,
no.
You know, it really would make a huge difference.
I found actually with Sebastian Loeb, the lower end cars were actually sounding better than the higher end cars. If you start with the lower stuff, it sounds okay. Then you move up to the iconic rally cars, and it just so lacking. It was really disappointing.
Yeah,
and with all the technology in place, it does bode well if they do decide to make another Sebastian Loeb style rally game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this technology is going to be, you know, implemented in all their future games. So it's so exciting now. You know, you think of Ride Free, you think of perhaps a Sebastian Loeb sequel sometime in the future. We're going to have decent graphics. We're going to have decent sound. Milestone have always got the gameplay right. You know, it's Sebastian Loeb physics, fantastic. Ride 2 physics, really fun. So this is incredibly exciting because, you know, Milestone are one of those companies that release a lot of racing games. And if we're going to get high quality racing games in, you know, good numbers, then, you know, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, that's why I think this is, and we mentioned it on the MXGP video, that's why this is such good news, because it's another contender now. And the better Milestone games get, the more challenge it is to Codemasters, to Turn 10, to everybody else making racing games. And everyone's got to raise their game. And this technology is really taking racing games forward, you know, not just Milestone, you know, pushing everybody. So in that sense,
they finally got there in the end.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I think people underestimate how small they were as a company, as a developer, really, and how much they've grown over the past few years. Yes, they've been knocking out games like we've never seen, but you know, hopefully
5 games last year, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it's been a busy year, but hopefully, with this new technology now, they're actually going to be something to really look forward to. They're not just going to be a grind. You know, they're actually going to have the gameplay and the graphics and the sound. You know, it's going to be a complete package. So yeah, I mean, gravel. Gravel is, we love that name.
They're running out of surface types, so it's...
we are. We've had mud. We've had.
They'll call it road next time, probably.
Road.
That'll be the next one. But
That's
the
even
name
closer to
just
gravel.
doesn't work for me. When you say gravel, I think of something gritty, and this isn't.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
it's
of like
fun,
driveways.
light-hearted.
Yeah.
Oh.
JCB, the game, exactly. No, it's move that gravel.
Reminds me of gravel track. Surely you want to avoid those in racing games. Now they've named their game after one.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a fascinating name, isn't it? I just, in a way, you kind of imagine being in the room, sort of deciding what this amazing racing game was going to be called. Shall we call it Super Turbo Racing or something? No, we'll call it Gravel. So
they're not the best at naming games. Let's be honest. So we got Valentino Rossi, the game, Ride, Mud.
I don't know.
Gravel.
I like Ride. I like simple names. I feel that they're good for branding and franchises. A nice, simple, sharp, snappy name. And Gravel, I guess, will grow on people. It's just it's a little bit funny at first, but yeah, hopefully it will grow on us.
Better than Mud.
How did people react when Dirt was first announced? That's obviously stuck now. We don't think anything of it.
Remember, it was called Colin McRae Dirt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
so I do remember that.
Dirt 2.
Exactly. So by the time we got to Dirt 2, it sort of suited that nature of the game.
Very clever, actually, the way they did that. It sort of eased it in, didn't they? So
it's
well done by Codemasters.
When Dirt came out.
Yeah, and you got grid and you got asphalt and.
And I got Gravel and Dirt 4 in the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of racing games coming, and it's interesting now. We've got the surface types covered this year when it comes to off-road. So yeah, more than 50 vehicles in the game. We've got cross-circuit, cross-country, trophy trucks, and extreme racing. Whatever the breakdown is, I can tell you there's some cracking cars, and we'll be looking at putting together a list of some of those cars as well. And some awesome rally cars in there that are going to give it that true Sega rally feel.
Yes.
So I look forward to just use the assets of Sebastian Loeb with the rally cars.
Oh yeah, it's very impressive, isn't it? It got a good range. I mean, okay, there are only 4 disciplines, if you like, subcategories of cars, but you've got your trophy trucks, you've got your raid spec vehicles, you've got your Group B rally cars, all the classic rally cars as well. So it's fantastic range. It really is, a car list for petrol heads, just like Seb Loeb, like you said. And of course, they've got the stadium circuit mode, which is interesting. It's almost like a race of champions. So that looks very interesting, I got to say. So there's a good. It's good to get out of the open world and into something different, So a reasonable variety. But I just wonder, is there enough game types altogether to keep people invested? That's the question. Is there enough variety?
Had the same problem.
Yes, with Forza Horizon 3, for me, it was just so many checkpoint races. It got dull pretty quick, and it was the online multiplayer that kind of saved it. The online multiplayer was fantastic.
They had a championship mode where you had to do them all over again.
Yes, so
I mean that it's a 2-part question, isn't it? Is it going to have enough one-player stuff to keep you interested and engaged? Is it going to take you forward as a driver? And in that sense, there's no. There's not many classes. There's not like a buggy class, is there, or anything like that?
No, unfortunately not.
So there's that. And then the other component is multiplayer, online multiplayer, which is very important for a game like this. And Milestone, classically, it's been a bit bare bones, their multiplayer, to be fair.
Yes.
And they've not been the greatest at making them work.
So for me as well, the multiplayer actually saved.
But they're looking to make strides, though, aren't they, with this Gravel? It seems to be having a pretty heavy online focus.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they're aware that online is a very key feature. It needs to be in there, but also point out this is aiming to be a global release. I believe it's their first global release since they've made them publish their own games. So this is a big deal because normally America gets the games 5 or 6 months later. Now they're going to get it at the same time, and this could do really well in the market.
When is it coming to the US? We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ride 2, just a few weeks ago, 4 or 5 months later. It's a real pain that they have to wait that long. But
actually, one thing we didn't mention, is dynamic weather, which to me is a big selling point. An open world game. We've got fantastic damage. We've got good graphics. We've got great sound, and we have dynamic weather. So this is a really epic achievement.
Dynamic time of day as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, and the time of day makes a radical change. I mean, you'll see throughout this video clips taken. I've actually tested the circuit, the test circuit they had at different times of day, the demo, and it really changes the look and feel. But it felt very authentic. You know, that sand and everything. It had that. You know, you kind of wanted to walk on that warm
gorgeous.
sand. You know,
yes, that white sand and the blue-green seas were gorgeous. I mean, and the sunlight effects at sunset was just incredible, and it shows up the sort of smudges on the windscreen. You know, I was really impressed with that. Really nice lighting effects going on there. Although, you know,
very early stage. Yeah,
it is very early. The trees, for me, I hope they're going to sort of breathe more sort of life into them. They do look a bit dull, a bit dark. But, you know, it is early footage, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more vibrancy in the final game.
I'll tell you one thing it doesn't have. If it needs to be a true arcade race, it needs to have a cheesy announcer that goes 3, 2, 1, go!
That kind of checkpoint!
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Checkpoint guide.
Preferably Japanese.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because at the start of the race, it does have that countdown, and in my mind, that's what I was saying in my mind.
That's what you need, yeah.
That's how you separate an arcade game from a sim game. You know, if you're in any question whether a sim is a sim game, if it's got a 3, 2, 1 countdown, you can say, no, it's not a sim, you know.
Well, you know what? That's why I liked it. There's a game I covered on the channel, it's similar with Big Truck, a little while ago, called Burning Road. And when you like decided like this, decided like this, you know, and it's just the way he talks, it's just awful, and it just made me laugh. And then when you're racing, it would sing "Burning Road, Burning Road." It's like, it's just so cheesy, the music. So
it worked somehow back then.
I love all that.
I actually still feel that on menu screens and stuff, some of that would work now, because it would make you laugh. It would put you into the vibe. It would go with the fresh gravel orange juice, and it would be silly and stupid and funny. So I hope
there are ways of doing it. I mean, if you look at Rock and Racing, that was probably not the way to do it. That was just repetition of the same few phrases, you know. And we've seen that in Codemasters games in the past as well. When there's repetition, it does get annoying. So there is a way to do it and a way not to do it.
Yeah, I get the feeling you'll probably get some sort of cut scenes if it's about some big TV networks. I think there will be a bit of cheese in it.
I hope so. Yeah. We all love a bit of Stilton, don't we?
There might be a bit of backstory to it, maybe, or if there's like
I imagine
a reason for gravel. Why is there gravel coffee? What is this branding that's everywhere?
It's like a TV channel they're going for. So it's
Split Second did that as well, didn't it?
Yeah, coming next on Split Second. I loved all that.
Reality TV show thing.
Yeah, they did, and I really liked that. I mean, that's why it was such a pain at the end, because when you complete Split Second, you see all these bulldozers coming to town, and it lines it up ready for Split Second 2, and it mentions that the sequel coming soon. No, and it's like, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, we need this personality back in arcade races, because it's all gone very serious.
Yeah,
you know, it's
what I was saying before. Milestone games have lacked personality, I think, for years.
Yes,
big time.
They have, and I feel this graphical technology is giving them what they need to give it a bit more personality now. You know, they're looking better, playing.
It's the speed of development, isn't it? They're able to add on these sort of elements that perhaps they didn't have time or resources for earlier, because of the development is so fast now. They can tack on these little bits which make all the difference.
I wonder what the narrator will be like, if there is one, because obviously in Ride and some of their other games, it's been a very sort of stoic narrator. Like, welcome to Ride.
Yeah, I mean, Ride 1, Ride 1 was the cheesy bloke, wasn't it? And then Ride 2, they brought in the female. Yeah, who knows? I'm hoping for a really sort of dude bro style, you know, just for a bit of a laugh, really.
But then again, Forza Horizon, we hate the characters in that. So
we don't want it. We don't want it like that. There's a certain level of, we don't want it to be sleazy. We want it to be cheesy, and I think that there's a difference between the two. And if you were to get inspired, I would say always look at Japanese, like Ridge Racer. You know, I mean,
laps to go.
Exactly. It's a new record, and you're like, you know, it gave you that feeling. You wanted to fist pump every time you did it. You know? And that's what I want from this game. I want to be like, you know.
It harks back to another era.
It does. That's. But I like that. You know, it excites me. It's fun. What we've seen of it so far, you know, and the potential is really there. we'll probably, we've got these videos now, and we'll have a bunch of videos on the channel. We'll be looking at different times of day and various different vehicles, and we'll have some. If you want to hear the engines, don't worry, we'll have some no comment action as well on the channel. And then we'll be keeping a close eye on this title throughout the year and seeing how it develops. But very keen to see the different locations and environments. And, we see a little bit of that in the trailer. But, I'm really keen to see how it all comes together, because potential is huge for this. Wow, what a year for racing games, guys.
Incredible.
Monumental. Almost a milestone year for racing games, you could say.
Boom, boom. Exactly. No, it certainly is. I mean, gravel is here, so we look forward to seeing how this comes together. But your thoughts on it, guys? Final thoughts. I guess we should wrap up on this one.
Yeah, probably. Very promising. Like I said before, it fills in the void of arcade races that I've been longing for. I just worry a bit they might be rushing it for the summer release.
Yeah,
but like Kevin said as well, is there enough depth to keep me hooked? But I think they're going to be revealing more about the multiplayer side of things in the next few weeks. So that should hopefully tell us more.
Yeah, I think seeing the multiplayer, I think seeing just general development of it. I mean, because graphically it's still a very early stage. I think Milestone split into several titles. So I guess the MXGP team will probably move on to this as soon as that's completed, and that will increase the size of the team that's working on this. But wow, they have a scale of a job to get done. And then we're saying the same thing about Project Cars 2, weren't we? Everybody's working so hard to the limit now to get these titles done. They should
have released it next year, personally.
It's a busy period, isn't it? This summer, I mean, if it comes out in August, you're probably going to have Formula One coming out the same month. We've got, what have we got? Dirt 4, MotoGP.
MotoGP comes out in June, doesn't it?
June, yeah, that traditionally comes out in June. So
looking at July, August, then potentially.
July is normally dead as a month goes. I mean, I think July's a great month. Everybody goes on kids' summer holiday then. So that's when it's a great time to release a game you can play over the summer holiday, and it's got that nice vibe to it as well. It's got a summer holiday vibe. So
yes,
that would be ideal. But no, really good feedback on it so far. I think we'll just have to see how it turns out. But potential is there, and it's great to see some Milestone with some new tech.
Yep. Any other thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the graphics are there, the sound is there, the vehicle choice is there. Damage is there, you've got all these elements, all these boxes are ticked. But I just wonder, is there going to be enough variety in the game types? How's the online going to be? Is it going to keep people invested? Is there much variation in the environments themselves? It's going to sort of, I guess the online is very important in a game like this. It could hinge the success on the online sort of portion. But looking forward to it. It looks good. The damage in particular is really impressing me, and the sound as well. Fantastic leaps by Milestone there. But summer, is it too soon? We'll have to wait and see.
Kind of, yeah, it might be. We'll see. What about you, Ed?
For me, I don't know. I think it's feature rich. I think, like we've talked about already, the features that are in there look really exciting. Like we've already mentioned, the damage and the way it looks and the fast development cycle they're able to get through and things like that. But for me, I think it's really going to hinge on the gameplay and whether the gameplay is going to keep people hooked. Like, how do the cars feel and how well it plays out on, and also what sort of tracks there are. Like, to start with, when I've first seen the footage that we've got, you've got this big open track. You're going over a big beach and it's hugely open. Those can get quite boring if you're doing those kind of tracks a lot. But now that I've seen the press release stuff that we've got, there's one of like a stadium, and it looks like quite a tight technical track inside a stadium that you might have rallycross cars go over, which to me looks like a lot more fun for me personally than a massive open track. So I think if it keeps that variety to keep people hooked, and also the multiplayer is going to be a huge factor as well. If that's got good multiplayer, then it should be fun.
Well, I will say this actually in defence of the wide tracks in that arcade style is Sega Rally had wide tracks on the original Sega Rally 95, and but when a track is that wide, racing line is all the more important. So you're going to see people sliding well into corners, drifting literally well into corners from a long way out, really nibbling the edges of the bushes and the trees around those courses. So even though the course is very wide, the actual racing line, if you want to be on a good lap, is very narrow. And it'll be interesting to see how people take some of those corners as well because of the width of the circuit. Do they go in wide and come out narrow or whatever in terms of the options that are there? But yeah, it is deceptive when a course is that wide. It's easier for more people to play, but at the same time, maximizing a time on a wide circuit like that, as with Sega Rally, the circuits were very wide, but when you were on it, the actual circuit was very narrow. If you wanted to get a good time, you had to take risks all the time in terms of nibbling trees as you went past. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that. But like you say, the technicality of the stadium will suit different players as well. So it'd be interesting to see how it's implemented.
Yep.
Right, I think that's it then for our first look at gravel. Maybe the name will stick with me at some point. We'll see. Yeah, we'll have lots more on gravel in the coming weeks. Do check out the channel and the website for more very soon. Bye for now.